Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rico'S Rants. I'm your host, Rico DiGiorgio. Um, this is not going to be a very happy episode, and this is my form of therapy, and I'm better than I was a couple days ago. But I need to unload, talk to you guys, talk to whoever is going through something similar. A friend of mine, and a mentor, and a coworker passed away rather suddenly. I won't go into the details because I don't really know them. All I could say is that he was a friend. And I will talk about this a whole lot more on my podcast, Podescue. This is, again, this is therapy. So this might get ugly. His name was Arthur McGee. Art. He was a friend. And he was the manager at the video store that I currently work at. I've known him 4 years. He was very quiet, very private, and we were friends. But he kept me at arm's length of his own choice. And I think through years of getting to know each other, we got to know parts of the best and worst of me. And I say that because he, as painful as it is to say, I really didn't know a whole lot about him. And that's probably what is so upsetting. Um, I don't know the circumstances of how he died. I don't even know when he died. I do know who found him. And I do know that he was alone. And it is a real shock to the system when someone you know has passed. And he he had a very distinct voice. I would do my impression of him to him, and he he kind of sounded like Marlon Brando on Helium, is what I called it. He was a very he was a big man. He was very heavy set. He was African American, and he and I got close enough where we could bust each other's balls of our ethnicities, as friends do. And he had this very dry wit, whereas I'm always trying to be as funny as I possibly can. And I'm always trying to make him laugh because he always came off very sad, very quiet, frequently unhappy, very stressed. And I try to always make him laugh. And I was usually successful. He kind of sounded like this. Oh, hey Rico, what's going on? Just real morose sounding, and But he had this fucking grin that when I would see it, it was just a way. It made God, like I was like an addict to it. It was just because it was such a. He didn't laugh or smile that often in general. So, in some subconscious way, I was always trying to cheer him up. And also because I'm a whore for laughter. So, I got my own thrill out of it. And he was young, far too young. We would always bust each other's balls about our age difference, too. I don't even know how old he was. That's that's also was upsetting is that I knew this man for 4 years. I worked with him every other day. We worked together on Friday nights. We lamented over the same frustrations at work. We talked a lot about movies. And I think that's one of the things that I both admired and loved about him was that movies were his passion. Movies were his love. I think he genuinely loved movies more than people. I don't even know if he was in a relationship because I think no woman or man, well, I don't even know his sexual orientation, could compare to the movies that he loved. Guys, I never even went to his house. The irony is, I drove him to his house all the time. And he didn't live close to me. He wasn't in my general direction. I went out of my way to take him home because for 10 or 15 minutes, he and I would be in my car just driving through Oakland, and for briefest of minutes, for a shortest amount of time, there was no work bullshit, there was no stress. Occasionally we would talk about work, but it was primarily about what are you going to do this weekend? And me telling him about my girlfriend or, just trying to make him laugh. And I dropped him off at his house so many times over the years, and I never once. I think I said, hey, one of these days I should come in, we should watch a movie. One of these days we should get dinner, something. And he said, oh, yeah, yeah, sure. Well, yeah. Never happened. I had a beer with him one time, and it was with a mutual coworker and mutual friend who actually is going to be on the podcast uh, in a couple days. So you guys will hear that when that episode comes out. Dustin. So Dustin had been working there, and he somehow, whether despite my efforts or not, he somehow got to get Art to come out of his shell and come out and have a drink with us. And for just a cup, I wasn't even there that long, and half hour, 45 minutes, and we're just bullshitting, telling stories, and I, like I said, we were close enough where we could bust each other's balls about our personal lives and him being older than me and me being younger than him and me being Italian and him being black and he was a light skinned African American. And I made the joke that because his last name is McGee, I said, so Art, are you black Irish? What the fuck are you? Are you full African American or do you got a little Irish in you? And he laughed and he wasn't offended and Dustin was like, dude, you can't ask him that. And Art's like, yeah, man, you can't ask me if I'm full black. I was like, well, you don't really seem that black, Art. I mean, and I was just messing with him. And he said, oh, I don't seem that black, huh? That's because you haven't seen my dick. uh, and that's the type of wit he had because he didn't speak that prominently. But occasionally when he would just fucking be hysterical. He always used to joke with me that when I would really kind of rag on him and we would mess with each other, he would pull out the manager card and he's like, "Oh, okay, well you're fired." That was always bullshit. This one time I'm walking out of the pizza place I got a couple slices of pizza across from where we work, and he was at the bus stop. And he sees me obviously walking out of the pizza place, and he sees me obviously carrying a couple slices of pizza. And he says, "Oh, hey, what do you got there?" What the fuck do you think it is? Well, you saw me walk out of here. Oh, give me one. I said, fuck you, no. And he said, oh, okay, you're fired. uh, I think that's what I'll miss most. Just a friend to rag on. Just a friend to rag on me with and someone to talk movies. I wish that I had at least gone to the movies one time with him. We never did it. And we would have been the perfect guys to do that with each other. We had similar interests in movies. We also had very different opinions on certain subjects. He was a great debater. We argued relentlessly over Marvel versus DC. We were both in agreement that the current DCEU sucked. Oh, and I know. Go on, Dino. I know he is. I'm not a religious man in any way, but I know if he knew if he, that he was about to pass and he had some knowledge of it, which, fuck, I hope he didn't. He was probably really upset that he didn't get to see Avengers 4. Oh, God. That's going to be a fucking hard one for me. Because we talked about every new Marvel movie. I know he was grateful to see Black Panther. He told me, he said, I've been waiting for this movie my fucking whole life, man. I'm glad he at least had that moment. I don't, like I said, he was not happy. But I'm grateful to know that I at least gave him some happiness. And he did too. I had a lot of good moments with him. Not as many as I would have wanted. That's the worst thing about this is that it reminds you how life is just quick. Death is sudden. And the after effect of the people mourning you is forever. And I will always miss you, Art. The video room and my life will never be the same. I will always miss you. And this is a tribute to a friend, and on the podcast CJ and I and Dustin, even though CJ didn't know Art, we're going to be talking about a little bit about Art. We're going to do our own separate episode and bring Dustin on, and it was really fucking weird timing. Shitty timing, really. That Dustin all of a sudden got interested in doing an episode with us, and then Art Now we have something really to talk about. We were kind of brainstorming. Oh, should we talk about this? Should we talk about that? So thanks, Art, you fucking asshole, for coming up with a topic. I wish you would have. I don't even know if he would have been comfortable coming up on the episode, being a part of it. But it's something I would have loved for him to do. Hug your family. Hug your friends. And like I said, I don't know the circumstances of his death. Not yet, anyway. But I do know, and I have my theories. I know he was in a lot of pain. Physical pain. I don't know if something extreme happened. I don't know if he did something extreme. Which brings me to, if you're having thoughts, if you're having a bad night, always reach out to someone. Don't just wallow. Talk to someone. If you just give them the slightest chance, people will listen. And if that person doesn't listen, find someone else. Even if it's a complete fucking stranger. And same here. If you watch this video and you need someone to talk to, feel free to drop me a line. Bye, guys.